next edition of the Miles Holcomb Show. We are in Southside, Alabama, in Coach Holcomb's office, actually. And, Coach, last week, unbelievably huge game on the road at Oxford. And before the season started, let's rewind the clock a little bit, how the general media in general, all across the area, was kind of doubting you guys and saying 2 games, maybe 3 games if you're lucky, you're going to win. To what we've seen, since you guys actually physically kicked this thing off. And I know that has to put a chip on your guys' shoulders. There's no doubt about that. But what we seen last Friday night, you went to Oxford, Alabama, perennial power who wins the region like clockwork every year, and pretty much controlled the game from the start to the finish. It's 35-17 when it was all said and done. But before we even get into that game, I want to rewind the clock. I know Josh talked to you a little bit about the season and since you've been here and things like that, but having that chip on your shoulder has to play into it. Probably helps your guys when you go to coach them to listen to what you're trying to say. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this bunch, we talked, from the beginning about this senior class being told how good last year's class was and how good the rising sophomore class is. And I just thought from the beginning that this senior class right here had a chance to be special, And now we got guys in our junior class that are special. Obviously, our sophomore class is a special class. But I just felt like this group kind of got overlooked a little bit from the jump. And they've had something to prove since the day I walked in here, and they ain't done anything but invested since I got here, And so I think there is a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. I definitely think that's how it started. I think now we've almost got to the point, and I hope we've got to the point where we're not worried about anybody else. We're just kind of, that's the standard that we're supposed to play at, and they created the standard. That's what I told them last week. Like, you guys have created a standard now. Like, that's the standard of play, and if you don't live up to the standard, it ain't because somebody else, told you had to play that way. Like, you guys, decided that's how we're going to play. And I told a kid the other day, like, when you do something right, it's like the first time you make your bed, when you're growing up, and then all of a sudden you make it right the first time, and then your mom and dad come in and they're like, oh, well, you sure can make the bed, can't you? So now you got to make the bed every
day.
And so, I feel like that's kind of what, what our kids have done with the program. I mean, they created the standard of play, and that's the expectation level now.
Now, do you think, honestly, in your heart of hearts, that loss at Lincoln actually helped you?
I mean, it's hard to ever say.
I know they learned from it though.
We definitely did. I think what
your
it
offense
did
looks totally different.
I think what it did was, I think it brought us closer as a team. Because there was nobody was pointing fingers. Nobody jumped off the ship. Nobody was like, yeah, I knew this wasn't going to work. I think what it did more than anything else is it brought out the character of our team. And our guys came back to work that Sunday. They had a great attitude on Sunday, ready to work. It's so in a way, maybe. Maybe. I mean, obviously, I'd love to be sitting here 4-0. There ain't no doubt about that. But
very close to that.
But I do think it brought out the character of our team and the character of our kids. And I think even the character of our coaching staff. I mean, when you see us, like things are not going great. I mean, we're trying to build each other up. That's just kind of what we do. We talk about it all the time. Like, add value to the guy next to you. And so I think our group does a great job of finding a way to add value to each other.
Now, you guys have been in a big atmosphere this year already, twice, 2 huge atmospheres. I mean, really, honestly, all your games have been pretty big, but that Hokes Bluff game was surrounded. The whole county was there watching that. Then you go on the road at Oxford, on the road like that. It's a huge game, but none of them compare to what we're about to see, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of what happened last week has transpired. Now this whole dynamics and everything changes. So now, you guys are hosting Arab, who both of you guys undefeated in the region, and to host that game here at Barney-Hood, what kind of insane asylum do you expect from this student section who's been absolutely phenomenal?
Oh, it's insane. I'd tell you this, like, I know Sadie and Gracie will have it ready to go.
They're dogs, bro.
There ain't no doubt about that. They will have them ready to go. And so I feel like if we can match the level of intensity that we've played with up to this point. When you turn on the tape and you watch those guys, I mean, it's hard not to kind of see yourself a little bit in kind of what they do, like with the level of physicality they play with, how relentless they play, and like that's kind of our MO also. I think this game more than anything else is going to show the level of maturity, like where we at maturity level. Simply because when you look at it, Lincoln was an emotional game because it's the first one. It's a brand new, we're trying to establish a brand new culture. It's emotional. It didn't go the way we wanted it to. And it makes it a little bit more emotional. And then we go into Hokes Bluff, and Hokes Bluff is an emotional game because it's a huge rivalry. And then you go into the first region game at Pell City on the road, and you find a way to pull one out. Then you go to Oxford, and you play Oxford, who, like you said, is a powerhouse, and you find a way to win that one. So the only thing you come in and you're like, all right, well, everybody's telling us how good we are. Everybody's telling us what a great accomplishment it was. And you don't want to take anything away from that. Like, I don't want to take anything away from what our kids did, right, and what our coaches did. But if you lose this one, that one don't matter. Nobody cares, all right? And that's just kind of the nature of the profession that we get in. Like, it's about, hey, what have you done for me lately? And that's all anybody cares about. And we understand that, and like I think you kind of embrace it. You ain't got another choice but to embrace it.
Man, that's a great way to look at it, because now you're getting that, hey, the people, the surrounding people were like, they got 2 or 3 games. Now all of a sudden it's done a 180, and now they're like, oh, these guys are expected to win. Now we're going to be region champs. We got to do this.
Yeah, ain't no doubt. I think
that's
the first time
though.
It is. Now it's a fun place to be. I think the first time we spoke, like one of the things we talked about was like how our guys are going to handle success.
Oh yeah.
We talked about it and we talked about it with our kids. And I think our coaching staff does a great job of empowering the guys we got. That's what we want to do. Like, because ultimately, if you come to a game, I don't think you see a whole lot of guys. Like, there ain't a whole lot of like yelling and screaming. There ain't a whole lot of, there's just, it's Friday nights is about our kids. Mm-hmm. We get a great chance Sunday through Thursday to teach them and get stuff corrected and get stuff fixed and get stuff installed. And then Friday's about our kids, and we want them to go out there and play. And so, I love the fact that our coaching staff empowers our kids, and I love the fact that when they get here, we also hold them accountable throughout the week. Because as good as we've played at some point in time during the season, all right, we've looked about that bad at practice, and
that's stuff people don't see at home.
Ain't no doubt. You don't like it's hard. I mean, like sometimes it's hard to like keep pulling it out of a guy, but this group of kids make it a little easier. This group of kids, they love each other so much, and everybody talks about, well, this group, hates Southside, and this group hates Southside, and I don't really care, because our guys love each other so much, and I just really feel like love is a stronger motivator than hate is, because love's going to last, It don't matter how tired you are, you can hate somebody a little bit less when you're tired, But you're going to keep loving the same way when you're tired.
If everybody loves you, then you're probably a loser.
Ain't no doubt.
I'm just being honest.
Ain't no doubt.
In sports, if everybody loves, oh, man, those guys.
I love that guy.
Yeah, he does a great job over there. You're probably at a losing program.
Yeah.
I've discovered that since we've been doing it. Well, I mean, I knew that when I played, but I've really discovered it now. That we deal with some schools that, hey, he's just a good guy, man. I love that guy. And you're like, he's not doing so good, I bet. And you go check the record, and that's the case. My next question is, let's talk about, obviously we talk about the defense in a second, but you're an offensive-minded guy who runs this offense. Obviously, the game slowed down for Gage. Something's clicked since that Hokes Bluff game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He had spurts in Lincoln, but, in the Hokes Bluff game, it's like out of the gate, And you and I talked about it before that game about getting Cody involved early and often, and then he goes out for almost 200 yards, 6 catches, and 3 touchdowns, and was our player of the week. But for the offense in general, has the game slowed down for these guys?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think they just know it better. I think the way that I think our coaches do a great job of teaching it to them. And, when it comes to, we call things a little, it's a little neurotic the way we call stuff, I think, sometimes. But our coaches do a great job of teaching it to our kids. And we try to make it as simple as possible.
That's a lot of stuff you put on them too.
We do. We try to make we try to make what we do as simple. Like we there's a term like we always like we want to be simply complex, you know, in what we do. Because I really feel like when you go back and watch us in the first 4 games, we've almost had 4 different identities in 4 games, just because of that's just kind of been how, you know, everything's been dictated to us, you know. And so you that's the fun part of coaching. In my opinion, it's the fun part of coaching offensive football is you got a chance, like you can kind of mold your guys offensively to what you need them to be that week based off the look that you're getting. And then when it comes to just Gage in general, I didn't do a good job week 0, like giving him answers. And when you go back, I mean, I've had a chance to be around some incredible quarterbacks. And I found that when you give them answers before they get the questions, as a coach, if they're prepared enough to where you get them in a set where they don't have to wonder, like, what is that free safety going to do? Because the set that you got them in, like, there ain't no other option, like, that you can put them in the right play, and he knows, all right, I'm getting that coverage. They are really good players, you know, and it makes the game so much easier for quarterbacks. And he's so talented anyway that if we can just put him in good situations where he don't have to guess, like, he can put it wherever he wants to put it.
Pretty live arm.
Ain't no doubt. Like, I tell him all the time, like, we were in here, and he was like, hey, if I put it in the keyhole, and like that's the terminology that you know we talk about. I'm like, hey man, like put it in the keyhole over there.
No doubt.
You know, and he's super talented. Obviously, I mean, I think he'll be the first one to tell you the game slowed down for him since Lincoln. You know, I think he felt too much pressure. Yeah. You know, and I just didn't do a good job of making sure he was prepared enough week 0. And you know, I feel like we've tried to make sure that you know that's not the case going forward.
But now you played some dogs over the summer to get them ready for that speed. I know
we did, you know, like we want to put them. I think our team as a whole, you know, in as many of those type of situations as possible.
That's right.
You know, and situations. Exactly. Where we had a conversation when we got back one day in the summertime. We were back. It was after the first day of the Hoover 7-on-7, and we were cleaning stuff up. We were about to wash clothes, and one of our kids said, hey, Coach, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, when we got off the bus, like, we were kind of looking, and we were like, we ain't gonna score at all today. You know, and then we found a way to go, you know, win 2 games in pool play, and then played Lowndes down to the, you know, last possession. And I think more than anything, like, you always build off your successes. Like, you're able to find some success, and then, like, you create a little bit of belief. And we've been talking since day one about we don't care what all these other people tell us we can't do.
That's right.
All right, but the people that tell you that you can't do it are the ones that just don't want you to do it, and they hope you can't do it. And so we don't really focus on all the stuff that everybody tells us we can't do. Like, we just want to go compete, you know. And so I think our guys have done a great job of buying in. You know, I think Gage got to ask a question like, when did you know, like, when did it sink in, you know, that you had a chance to beat Oxford? And he said, well, when we got off the bus. I mean,
there you go.
You know, like on Sunday, we knew we had a chance because we got to play it, you know, and it don't matter. Like, you know, people can look at that and say, well, that's arrogant or that's cocky. But I mean, what do you want us to say? Like, hey, just hope we go over there and don't get hurt. I mean, like, you know, like, what do you want us to say? And when you walk into a situation and you got the belief that you can win, you got an opportunity to.
That's right. No doubt. I love that. You know, David Goggins has a quote that I love. He goes, 90 or to 95% of people that judge you and want you to fail or make fun of you for failure don't do whatever it is themselves. Yeah. In other words, it's easy to sit on your couch and say, oh, they're going to suck. Southside's going to suck when they're not out working, they're not out grinding, or they're not out playing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I was like, man, he's spot on.
Ain't no doubt. You know.
Let's flip this thing over and talk about this defense. Something Coach Bowen said in the off season, and he's reiterated it several times, is it don't matter who they play. He don't care if he lines up against Thompson. It don't matter who they play. His number one goal is to instill in their heads they're getting 3 and outs, and they're going to hit somebody.
No doubt.
And I think he's done a great job of that. What is your take on that?
Well, I mean, I think what the level of success kind of speaks for itself. You know, they have a different mentality. There's no doubt about it. You know, and what I love about it is we get to see it every day. It's fun. Like when we go pace and we're good on good, like we get a chance to compete against the best, in my opinion.
They're good.
You know, and so that just adds another piece of us being able to sharpen our edge as a team.
That's right.
You know, and so look, we had to see it. We had to see it since dadgum May. You know, so I'm glad somebody else has to see it.
That's right.
You know, but you know, they do such a great job of putting pressure on you early that it forces the quarterbacks to make split time decisions, and it speeds up the process.
That clock
And
starts going off.
if you can create a quick decision, a guy who's got to make like immediate decisions, you better be really good back there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've been on both ends of it. You know, and you better be really good at it.
That's right.
And so I think once again, like we're going to see a team this week that's going to try to match our level of physicality, because that's kind of what they hang their hat on too. And they're going to be physical, and they're going to play hard and relentless. And the quarterback's a physical kid, and he can run it and he can throw it. You know, he can do a little bit of both, and they're pretty athletic on the perimeter right there. And we're going to get tested this week. There ain't no doubt about that. Like we're going to be tested. I mean, I feel like we've been tested every week. I mean, when you look at who we've played, I mean, like, you know, say what you want to say. Like Coach Adams has got that Oxford team. Like people are going to say what they want to say about him. Mm-hmm. All right. And one thing I know about Coach Adams, when you turn the tape on in a couple weeks, when you turn the tape on this week, like I guarantee them dudes went back to work.
Oh yeah.
You know, I guarantee they went back to work just like if they'd have won the ball game, because he's an incredible ball coach. All right. He's a great dude, number one, but he's an incredible ball coach, and he's going to get them right.
That's right.
You know, and so that's that. And people was going to say they're a young team. Yeah, they are. You know, and I feel like we're a pretty young team too. You know, and so I just thought our kids came out and played a really good football game.
That's right.
You know, and so at the same time, we played a good football game. We had stuff that we got to fix too. I looked at the first 4 possessions. You just go back and watch the game, and we're up 14-3 because for a couple reasons. One, we give up a big return to Miguel, obviously, which is not ideal. But it should have been a touchdown, and it wasn't a touchdown because Brody Johnson's on the backside giving extra effort and tackles him at the 2. Well, then we get a negative play on the first down right there. And second down, we get so much pressure that we force a pick 6.
That's right.
You know, and like the pick 6 don't happen if we don't give up, if we don't make the extra effort relentless play. Like if Brody just decides to kind of mail it in and don't make the extra effort play, that's a touchdown. And now all of a sudden it's 10-7. You know, now they've got the momentum, right? But instead, we've got the momentum, and we're up 14-3. But then you go back and look at it, and offensively, we've had 4 possessions, and we've had 3 3-and-outs and 1 scoring drive. Like, that ain't very good. Yeah. You know? And so that's one of the things we've been trying to reiterate to our guys and to the offensive side is we've got to sustain drives. And if our defense is going to continue to play at the level they've been playing at, they can't do it playing 75 snaps a game.
That's right.
You know, and we got to find a way to keep them off the field as long as possible and for as much time as possible while we're chewing up the clock a little bit and sustaining drives. Whether they turn into touchdowns or not, we got to find a way to create first downs.
That's right. No doubt. Scratch each other's back.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. One last question, Coach, before we shut this one down. How special is that going to be to have this right here in your backyard Friday? I know road trips like last Friday are special. And to me, I used to like going on the road because it makes us against the world mentality. Mm-hmm. But, man, there ain't nothing like playing in your home stadium and where you live, and you can enjoy your office. And you know.
Absolutely. Well, it feels like it's been forever since we had a chance to play here.
It has been since, Lincoln?
Yeah, Lincoln. We ain't played here since the opening week. And so it's been about a month, you know, since we got a chance to play here. And obviously we left here that night with a bad taste in our mouth. There's no doubt about that. You know, we feel like our communities showed up. I mean, it was an incredible atmosphere, the first one. Oh, yeah. And then just kind of seeing the growth that I think that our community has been able to see with our kids from the first one to this one. I think they'll show up in an even greater capacity, obviously. Oh, yeah. We know what the student section is going to bring. We know what the band and cheerleaders are going to do. I mean, I told somebody today, like, we're at Pell City, and, like, they're playing, and I remember being like, good Lord, they loud. Yeah. Like, in a good way. You know, like, God, they loud, you know? Yeah. And so it's going to be an electric deal. Like, we've got what we feel like something to prove to our people here at home. And I mean, I can't wait to see it because obviously Arab's coming in, and you know they're looking the region title straight in the face also. So, that's kind of just another step in the direction we want to get to.
Coach Osmond, obviously very familiar with this area, man, and this team and this location. So, man, gonna be fun, man. I love to see well-coached teams go at each other, and this is not gonna be, anything but that Friday. I mean, two really good coach teams, and honestly, man, whoever wins this one's driver's seat.
Absolutely.
I mean, you obviously got more work to do, but
for sure. I mean, you don't want to discredit any of the other guys. I mean, you can get beat any week in this region. I mean, there ain't no doubt about that. But when you look at it and you're halfway through the season and you're undefeated in the region, it's what it does is it just gives you the opportunity to win out. We talk about every time we get on the bus, like if you get a win, when you get back in the locker room, like the greatest thing about getting a third win is now you get a chance to get the fourth one. The same thing that's be said in the region, so.
Hey, Coach, you've hit your quota of 3 by the naysayers.
Yeah, well,
shut it down, man.
Hey, I'm telling you, I hope we don't.
Nah, I'm just kidding with you, man.
I hope we don't, but that's. I think that's just kind of you walk into a situation nobody knows the heart and the soul and the spirit of the kids that's in the locker room. You just see what everybody lost.
That's right.
And look, two there like we lost a lot off that team from last year, and them suckers were super talented. There ain't no doubt about that. And it ain't nobody's fault because they don't know some of these guys, the way that we've been able to get to know them, and I think it all boils down to the relationship they have with each other.
That's right.
So they love each other. They're going to play for each other, and they've got a special bond with each other. If you just witness it at practice, like I just get this, like once we get done, like on offense, I just kind of get to stand over here and like watch the defense and how they interact with each other and how they talk to each other. And the offense is the same way. Obviously, I don't get to see it as much, because when we're not on the field. But it's just a fun. They compete. They get on each other. They're like looking at each other like, "Hey man, are you tired? Like, how are you tired?" And it's just they just love to compete.
That's right.
As a group.
That's right.
And so it's fun to watch.
Well, Coach, good luck to you guys Friday. I think we're going to have 2 or 3 of us here.
That's
So
awesome.
we'll have a bunch of Average Joe's members here, which is very rare because we're usually all over the place.
Oh yes, sir.
This one's so big, we're going to have some here from before kickoff and then some trickling in as the game goes on. But good luck, Coach. We'll see you Friday.
Thank you.